Okay, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. Fortnitemares 2021 is finally here, and Fortnite once again brought another pretty solid update. So, just like always, if you do have a myth you would like me to test in the next or future episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters, make sure to go down in the comments and drop a comment of that myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. As well, if you do enjoy today's video at any moment, feel free to consider leaving a like. Let's see if we can smash 3,000 likes on today's episode. That would be insane. Also, while you're at it, if you would like to see more videos by me, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications to never miss another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right on in to today's episode. Kicking things off, jumping straight into the first myth. The first myth is, do you glide faster with the Witch Broom while you have the hot chili pepper effect? Located in the direct center of the map, there's this brand new POI where you will actually find the Mythical Witch Broom, and they spawn as ground loot, not in chests. When you use this mythic, it'll launch you up into the air and it'll automatically deploy you onto, the broom as the glider, and you'll just kind of glide around at a pretty normal speed. So the question is, if you consume, the chili chug splashes or even a chili pepper, will you actually glide faster than as if you did not have the effect whatsoever? To try this out, I launched myself from the exact same standing point, looking at the exact same area. One of them I had the hot chili pepper effect, the other side I did not, and it did not seem to affect your speed whatsoever. I basically hit the mountain at the exact same time. So if you're ever in a real game, you might want to wait till you're on the ground to get the most out of the chili pepper effect. Going straight into the next myth. The next myth is, does Midas's golden touch affect the brand new Witch Broom Mythic? Now, whenever a brand new item like this comes out into the game, we always have to see if Midas's golden touch will affect it. And with an item like the Witch Broom Mythic, we've never actually have a glider be affected by Midas's golden touch. So maybe this will be an exception. So I basically found it on the ground. I picked it up, and since you don't physically see your player holding it until you are gliding it, I had to drop it on the ground, and it did not seem to have this solid gold effect. I then used the broom ability. I basically glided in the air, and it did not seem to be solid gold whatsoever. I tried to see if it was glitched out, dropped it, picked it back up, waited the 20-second cooldown. Unfortunately, Midas's golden touch has no effect on the broom while you're gliding or even on the ground. It's a little unfortunate, but he never really affects the gliders anyways. Going straight into the next myth, and a highly requested myth. This myth is, will the railgun deal damage to buildings or even players through the sideways anomaly wall or the barrier? This is actually a very good myth. In a previous episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters, we found out that you cannot shoot a regular weapon through this barrier, only like fishing rods and that sort of stuff. So will the railgun be the exception with how powerful of a bullet it is? I placed down a metal wall. I then walked backwards, looking directly at the metal wall. I charged up the railgun, shot, and surprisingly it actually did destroy it on the opposite side. In the sideways anomaly wall as well, you were actually able to see a little circle and the bullet going through afterwards, just kind of like the mist of it, or the line. But it's still, this is something good to know. If you're ever in the game, you see like the enemy trying to run into the zone or out of the zone to escape you, and you have the railgun, you could still somehow track them down and get the kill. Went into the next myth, and a very helpful myth. This myth is, since the launch from the Mythical Witch Broom destroys structures, will it break armored walls and floors too? So every single time you launch with the Mythical Broom, it'll actually destroy a few builds around you. So if you're in a build fight or even in a building, you might want to be careful if your teammates are near, because you might accidentally break them down. First testing this, I used the broom ability from the bottom side of an armored roof, and it did no damage whatsoever. I just kind of glitched among it, and it didn't do anything to the roof. I then launched from the top, where I was surprised to see that it immediately broke the armored floor. The floor didn't stand a single chance. Now, I wanted to see how far this could go, so I placed a floor, a wall, and a stair, all armored. I launched, and it managed to break the stair as well as the wall at the same time, which it's pretty powerful. Going into another railgun myth. This myth is, can the railgun deal damage through the reboot van since it's unbreakable? Now, it's pretty common in game that you will hear an enemy actually rebooting their teammate, and they most likely are on the other side of the reboot van. So if you do have the railgun and you wanna try and aim for a shot, maybe get a lucky 170 damage on them, you actually can with the railgun. I tested this out by putting a wooden wall on the opposite side of it, shot directly through the thickest part of the reboot van that I could find. It immediately broke the wall as well as the metal wall. It acted as if the reboot ban wasn't even there. I definitely keep this in mind if you play public matches on Fortnite a lot, because you might get a few eliminations from this one alone. Going straight into the next myth. The next myth is, will consuming multiple chili chug splashes make you run any faster than if you consumed only one chili chug splash? Previously, we actually tested this out just with regular chili peppers, and it unfortunately did not make you run any faster, but I got requested to test this myth out a whole ton, so I had to try it out for you guys. I went over to the NPC just a little bit north of Lazy. I bought myself some chili chug splashes. I set up a wall as well as another wall a little bit down the ways, and I compared both of the clips side by side to see if you would actually run faster with only one chili chug splash or multiple chili chug splashes at the same time. Comparing both of the speeds side by side in game, when you don't look at them side by side, it seems like you're running a lot faster, but you're actually running the exact same speed. This is very good to know, just in case. So if you do use the chili chug splashes, not for the extra 20 HP, say your max health, but you are using it for the speed boost, this way you don't waste any. You only need one, and you know, you'll have them for a lot longer. Went into another Midas's golden touch myth. This myth is, will Midas's golden touch affect the shockwave grenade launcher? Now, typically in Fortnite, Midas's golden touch will not affect any of the mythical weapons, but the shockwave grenade launcher isn't a mythical weapon this time around. It is actually a legendary weapon, which is why you can find it in chests as well as ground loot. When trying this out in game, I actually had the recon scanner as well as the shockwave grenade launcher. Midas's golden touch had no effect on the grenade launcher whatsoever, which is very, very weird, because the recon scanner, holding it side by side, they look pretty much identical, and the recon scanner will actually turn solid gold. I thought that might just be a glitch with the shockwave grenade launcher, so I dropped it, picked it back up, dropped it, picked it back up, and it would never turn solid gold. Midas's golden touch has no effect on it for some weird reason. It may not turn gold because if you guys remember Kit, I believe Kit was the boss's name, who used to drop the shockwave grenade launcher. It was a mythical weapon back then, and Fortnite probably turned off the solid gold setting for it. Going into the next myth. The next myth is, what happens when you launch into a cube slipstream with the Witch Broom Mythic? Now, this myth is super highly requested, and it's actually super helpful. This is how. If you launch directly into the slipstream without redeploying the broom, you will actually hit the slipstream and the cooldown will begin immediately, basically wasting the ability. Now, say you glide into the slipstream with the broom already, you know, you glide into it. The second you hit the slipstream, the cooldown will begin once again, but you will also be able to redeploy the broom immediately, having the cooldown, you know, start counting down while you still are gliding. This is actually super helpful, because usually the cooldown will not begin until you touch the ground once again, so always keep this in mind in game. Going into the last and final myth. This myth is, what happens when you boogie bomb a zombie? Now, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the zombies in the sideways anomaly zones, and they're a little bit annoying, and the boogie bomb is the only way to counter a player who is spamming your walls or spamming you, especially these zombies who literally will non-stop chase you. You are actually able to spawn zombies in creative mode using a creature spawner. It's the exact same as the ones in the sideways anomaly zone. I then spawned myself in a chest with multiple boogie bombs, and I charged the zombies. The zombies had no clue what was coming to them. I had the boogie bombs ready, set up. I gathered them all in like a train, you know, as if it's Call of Duty, and threw the boogie bomb, and it'll actually affect them. It'll make them literally stop attacking you. They will dance for the duration of the boogie bomb effect. You will also see the disco ball above their head. You'll hear them clapping, all of that good stuff. And they won't be able to attack you, which is like the most important part. You could literally walk straight up to them and like give them a big hug, and they still won't do a single thing to you. So when boogie bombs do come back into Fortnite, if they do win the little poll that's going on, this is definitely good to keep in mind, and it will maybe save you in a real game.